Hello and welcome to Cavaliers Daily. I'm your host, Paul Williams. You have found the one stop shop for everything Cleveland Cavalier related, good, bad, and indifferent. It will be spoken about here. Appreciate you joining me today. And with that, let's get right into the first topic. We're not too far from the season now, just a couple months away. And I've really been thinking about the different outcomes of what could happen throughout the season and then once the season is over with. And one of those things is even though we had a great regular season, it obviously didn't end well in the playoffs. And what if that kind of carries over to the regular season or at least the first half? And whether it's injuries related or the Cavs just underperforming, what if the Cavs are only 20-20 at the midway point, nearing the trade deadline? What if the Cavs are a couple games under 500 and just struggling? Do we just kind of mess with the rotation a little bit depending on who's performing? If it's injury related, do we just kind of stay put and hope that whoever is injured at the time is able to make a recovery and get us back to the Cavalier team we know? Or do we make a trade? I don't know about saying blow it up, but do we make a substantial trade to try to shake things up and change things around if for whatever reason the Cavs were off to an underwhelming start? I just think there's so many factors that would be involved with that to determine what the outcome would be. But it always is a real possibility in sports. There's no guarantee just because we had an historic season last year that we'll do the same this year. We could easily still finish top three, but start the season off hanging in the 5, 6, 7 spot and having a lot of people doubting the Cavaliers and putting pressure on the front office, maybe the coaching staff, to get things fixed and back to the Cavs that we have grown accustomed to seeing. So it's interesting and hopefully something we don't have to worry about. But I do think the Cavs would be a little quicker this year to pull the trigger on a few moves if needed, more so than they would have been maybe last year or the year before. Just because when you do have a regular season like you did last year, the expectations definitely do change, whether you want them to or not. So the Cavs, they know they have to win. They have to make a deep playoff run. And if for any reason it's looking like that might not be the case, I think the Cavs will approach things more aggressively. I know there's a lot of restrictions with contracts, second apron, things of that nature. We can't just go out and make any move we want without looking at the salary implications. But there are always moves to be made, and I do feel like the Cavs would be aggressive and possibly make one if it felt like the season was slipping away for any reason. So that's just something to look out for. Like I said, I think a couple times now, hopefully that isn't the case. No one wants that to happen. But it's just something that I don't think is a bad thing to kind of think about what direction we would go or what possibilities we would explore. And kind of along those lines, what guys, if we were to make a move, would be the most likely to go? Again, it's very scenario dependent. If it's the end of the year and the Cavs again underperformed in the playoffs, then I think we're opening things up a lot wider to maybe a Darius Garland or a Jared Allen really realistically getting traded. I know there's rumors every year, but I think it would become a lot more serious if the Cavs did not make a playoff run that they're expecting to make this season. If we're talking about more like the midway point of the season, the trade deadline, I don't know if the Cavs would do anything crazy like trading any of their big four. If anything, maybe Jared Allen if we really just need a shakeup. The guys are healthy, but they're just not playing up to standard, and Evan isn't taking that next step. Maybe something along those lines could push the Cavs to pull the trigger on a trade of that magnitude during the season. But I really feel like that would be an effect, and that would be something that came from uh, a playoff loss that was not expected. If we were going to make a shakeup throughout the year, I think that might be someone that wouldn't be as expected, but still would be a substantial loss for us. Depending, well, we'd get someone back for him, but they're an important player for us. Maybe someone like a Max Strus, who I mean, he showed up for most of the playoffs. He's never going to be one of your main guys, but he can be a key cog. He showed that in Miami. He does have value for sure around the league. Even DeAndre Hunter, he's on a good contract, still has a couple years to go. Even Struz's contract isn't bad now with the contracts that have been coming out of late. I mean, you never know. Even a guy like Lonzo Ball or Larry Nance Jr., it could be because they're playing so well, their value is way up, and they're both on contracts where we could lose them within a year or two. So the Cavs might be inclined to listen to offers, or if the Cavs just aren't performing how we want them to or expect them to, maybe a Larry Nance is an interesting piece for a contender looking versatile power forward for the stretch run. So those could also be names that get thrown around. I don't think the Cavs are really interested in trading the young guys in Jason Tyson, or I'm sorry, Jalen Tyson and Tyrese Proctor. Of course, no one's untouchable, but I do think with the lack of first round picks in the coming years, that the Cavs really do want to invest time in those guys and keep them around. So I don't see them being traded really, but yeah, those are just some thoughts. I don't think there will be a huge trade that the Cavs will make unless things are just falling apart at this time next year or in the offseason next year. For the time being, throughout the season, you never know if something like a DeAndre Hunter trade this year, when we got rid of Karis LeVert and Niang, something like that could always happen. But I don't see anything too substantial happening this season as far as trades go for the Cavs. And if it does, that's probably not a great sign for how the Cavs season is going. But those are just some thoughts on a few players that could possibly be on the move if it did get to that point. Some players that I don't think will be on the move no matter what, and not just some players, but an asset. But Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, obviously, I know those two are the names that probably everyone would come to when talking about untouchables, and maybe some people would say no one should be, or Donovan could still leave in a couple years anyway, so he shouldn't be. But I just feel like these guys, especially in big games and when it matters the most, have shown the most that they can be building blocks for championship teams. They've been the most consistent and reliable stars of the Cavs Big Four and just on the Cavs in general over the past couple of years. They've both grown every year and taken huge leaps in their progressions, even though Donovan's older than Evan Mobley. You could still see all the jumps in his game throughout his last 3 years with the Cavaliers. I mean, last year just becoming much more of a facilitator and just someone that attract the defense to help other guys on his team score and maybe pick up a few stats they weren't getting years prior. He's taken leaps and bounds in his development, and I don't think the Cavs are looking to ever lose him without that being something he chooses on his own through free agency or maybe demanding a trade way later when his contract is close to expiring. So I think that he is an untouchable for the Cavs, and Evan Mobley, obviously a young defensive player of the year that can do it all, who you have locked in for years to come. I guess with the Luka trade, we saw that anything is possible, but I just don't see Evan Mobley being moved at all, no matter the circumstances. He's going to be built around here in Cleveland for a long time. And I also don't see the Cavs moving our one tradable first round pick, the 2031 first rounder that we still have in our possession. and can trade when the time is right. I think it'd have to be a pretty substantial trade for the Cavs to even consider it, as they've shown in the past. They do like to have some type of backup plan when it comes to having young assets or having draft assets where even if things go bad, you can still rebuild quickly, which is what we did after losing LeBron. So I think that's another untouchable when it comes to the Cavs is that one tradable first round pick. And yeah, besides that, I don't think anyone's really untouchable on the Cavaliers as it stands right now. And as far as the guys who aren't untouchable, if they were to ever get traded, who would be some of the guys that you may want to see them traded for? Whether it's maybe more realistic possibility like a Drew Holiday or a Jonathan Kaminga, something along those lines, or if you want to get a little crazier, a Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jokic. I mean, there's always going to be names floating around that could be possibilities depending on where their team's at and if the player's happy there. If it's just a vet kind of hanging around till they're traded to their next destination, like Drew Holiday, there's going to always be some interesting names available around the NBA. One guy that I think is more available or going to be more available than he's being talked about right now is Domantas Sabonis from the Sacramento Kings, originally traded from the Pacers for Tyrese Halliburton, and before that, he was traded in the Paul George trades. So he's been in a lot of trades already, but did kind of find a home in Sacramento. Puts up huge stats. I mean, he fills up the stat sheet, has made some all NBA teams, but just clearly they're not building anything around him in Sacramento. And he's a guy that could realistically be a hot name around the trade deadline, All-Star break. And I don't know what if Evan Mobley and Jared Allen don't take another step like they did last season, and it's looking again like they might not be the best pairing for a too big rotation. Maybe the Cavs shake it up, and maybe Sabonis is someone that gets looked at in a trade for Jared Allen. Just something to throw out there. And then someone like Kaminga, clearly unhappy in Golden State, but his best bet might be to just sign with them for now and market himself throughout the year. If that happens, who knows? That could be someone the Cavs may be able to swoop in and pick up without giving up too many assets. And he could add to the stable of young guys that the Cavs are trying to at least keep on reserve. So whenever this window does end, there is things and pieces in place to already look forward to. So those are just a few names that I think could be thrown around at the trade deadline or throughout the year. And who knows, the Cavs have shown before they're not afraid to be aggressive. So maybe our name comes up in some of those trade talks. And if our name comes up in any trade talks or any rumors at all, I promise this is where you can find it. Talk about it with me and hear all about one random guy's opinion on those things. I hope you will join me tomorrow and so on for the next episodes. Appreciate you being here today and have a great day, guys. I will see you soon.